The reaction to the Minnesota shooting has been insane, as you'd expect. It is very divided, and that's exactly what we talked about on the show today with Kirsha. Do us a favor, hit the thumbs up button, and check this insanity out. Let's talk about the reaction to the Minnesota shooting. We've all seen the videos. We've all seen all the angles. We've seen it broken down in all sorts of ways. And honestly, everybody pretty much has their own thoughts on it. And, you know, I think that's the most fascinating thing about this is that you can show that video to 10,000 people, and you can pretty much have a pretty good idea of how they're going to think about it based off of how they vote or where they live.
Unfortunately.
That's the saddest thing about this, right? Well, it's been a lot of chaos in Minnesota. Obviously, the last few weeks, it's escalating right now. And because of that chaos, I don't know if you saw this, but Minneapolis actually canceled school and activities today because of safety concerns. I'm not quite sure what those safety concerns were. And as you can see, Nick Shirley says, so no leering. No leering happening in Minnesota today, unfortunately, which I think is kind of amazing to see that they are so shook by this up in Minnesota that they're just not even going to bring kids to school.
I think the funny thing is that it's not like violence from ICE they have to worry about. It's violence from the people, quote unquote, protesting ICE that would be the worry.
Right. Because nothing says tolerant by like being incredibly violent.
Yeah.
But what about like I want to talk about the reaction from folks on X, some quote unquote celebrities, but also the response from the Minnesota Police and Peace Officers Association. We're going to talk about their response, like their actual physical response in a bit, but at least publicly.
By the way, real quick, I'm sorry to interrupt real fast. Kirsha, do you think that maybe that's a political move? That's a question. It's not a statement. As far as the school shutting down, it kind of sheds more. It's like the January 6th thing, how they overplay that. It's just making it really this terrifying thing that's happening to them politically. Do you think that that's a political move, or do you think it's kind of what you were saying in that they're just a little afraid of maybe their own people's violence?
I think that the actual reason for shutting it down is being afraid of the violence from the left, because they are the ones that perpetrate the violence. However, I think it is a double-pronged thing where when they shut down the schools, they can then claim that it's worrying because we have so much violence coming from ICE. We have the violence being inflamed by the president sending ICE here. We're not safe here. You're not safe here. And they can further inflame these retards to put their lives in danger by going after the ICE agents. Because this isn't the first time it happened. And apparently the ICE agent that got hit by the car this time was previously hit by a car. And then I can also remember another one in Chicago where some lady rammed her car into the ICE agents' vehicles and tried shooting at them. She got shot. And then she went to the hospital. And my first thought was like, why didn't they detain her? What the fuck?
I think that's been the most underplayed part of this story is that you've got a guy who was literally drugged by another car, right? So in a separate incident back in the summer, the same exact agent was hit by a car. So how do you, like, once again, fool me once, shame on me, right? Fool me twice. Like at a certain point, pardon the pun, you're not going to be so gun shy this time.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
So I think that's the thing that not enough people are talking about. I guarantee that narrative is not being pushed or even talked about when it comes to left-leaning circles or anything major news outlet out there, traditional media. That to me was probably the most eye-opening thing. That was like, oh wow, that's crazy. So back to the statement from the Minneapolis Police and Peace Officers Association. They pretty much said, hey, man, we stand firmly behind law enforcement officers, accountability under the law, and safety for every Minnesota community. Irresponsible, reckless rhetoric from political leaders attacking law enforcement has real and dangerous consequences for officers on the street. When officers are vilified, demonized, or used as political props, it fuels hostility, emboldens bad actors at risk. And they call on leaders to stop inflammatory language and respect the legal and investigative process. Seems like a very, very common sense statement. Hey, we got to do. Stop calling.
See, I bookmarked that because I was like, this seems like a very normal statement, and it seems like the police might try to stand behind the feds being attacked. But then we had that Nick Sortor video come out today, and I was like, all right, I see the game they're playing.
Right. So we'll get to that in just a minute as far as the response, the actual response to this. I'll say this though, man. Federal agents, I think they've had enough of this shit. I think more than anything, this is a boiling point to where people are just tired of this nonsense. Did you see the video of there was a vigil set up, a candlelight vigil set up outside of the ICE place, and here comes a federal agent who's like, man, fuck this.
Really?
Went over
fucking punk? That's what you're gonna fucking do?
What?
What? Do you know what the fuck is that is for? What is that for?
Back up.
What is that for?
Back up.
What is that for?
Back up.
You're gonna push me? What is that for?
Back up.
What was that
I don't
for?
give a fuck.
You don't give a fuck about
Back
it?
up. Bro.
This is why we're here.
Back up.
This is why we're here.
Back up.
What's her name? Renee Good?
Back up.
And you fucking, that's a memorial to her. That's a memorial to her. No, good.
They ain't playing this shit anymore. They're done.
Yeah. I mean, normally I'd be like, it probably doesn't look that great to be kicking over some candle on a memorial. But at this point, like, why would anyone care? Like, it's been normalized to dehumanize people on the right for ages. Law enforcement has been dehumanized for ages. They've done nothing but call for violence, call for wanting us dead. People have been elected in Virginia that have openly said that they want to see Republicans die, that they would shoot Republicans over actual fascists. So, like, why would we care? This is the, like, they don't give a shit about optics anymore. They almost had someone on their side die, and they're supposed to feel bad for the would-be murderer at this point.
Let's play alternate timeline. Craig, what do you think? Had she actually run him over, how much celebrating would you see? How much would she be a hero to that crew?
She would be a martyr. She'd be just like she's become, Oh my gosh. But here's the thing. Did you know that apparently, like, yesterday in Minnesota, there were 3 other incidents where ICE agents were hit by cars?
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah. So you didn't hear about those, did you? Right? This is just, yeah. Like, that's the thing. Apparently there were like 5 nationwide. 3 of them took place in Minnesota, like, just yesterday.
That's wild.
So yeah, like, or like, that's fucked up that they have to go out there and have to worry about being hit by fucking cars. And I think that's the thing that's been most amazing is, like, well, she was unarmed. No, she wasn't.
A vehicle. How much does that weigh, bro?
Right. She's in a 4,000-pound vehicle.
We need common sense assault vehicle control.
Crazy. We'd ban all cars. But we talk about the rhetoric here, the rhetoric that's being pushed amongst about law enforcement and how police and ICE agents have been just negatively portrayed by the media for all this nonsense. And people are just tired of it. But I'll tell you someone who has been pushing this rhetoric, Jimmy Kimmel, who is probably one of the most broken people I've ever seen. Don't tell me that this rhetoric isn't extreme when you see him say something like this.
I know what they're doing. They're trying out a new slogan. Donald J. Trump is going to kill you. It's pretty good, right?
That is not
After
AI.
all the shit that he said about, like, Charlie Kirk and him losing his show and then somehow getting it back, why would anyone take this individual seriously?
Yeah.
Right. It's like, if anyone was celebrating a death of the death of Charlie Kirk, why would we then be expected to empty out tons of empathy for this woman who was going to run over an agent who's trying to get people deported correctly because they're stealing from people there?
I am so tired of seeing this. And he, by the way, he continues here. He'll play the victim here. It's all broken. And by the way, listen, in Phoenix, you'll be able to talk about this. Listen to the response, and because I am guaranteeing this is canned, meaning that it is added. It's almost like a laugh track on TV. Pay attention.
Right? This maniac he isn't just killing people overseas. An ICE agent today shot and killed an unarmed 37-year-old woman during an ICE operation in Minneapolis. They're there under the guise of protecting us. And of course, our president weighed in with compassion. He wrote, "I've just viewed the clip of the event which took place in Minneapolis. It is a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator, and the woman driving the car, this is the woman who was killed, was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer who seems to have shot her in self-defense." Now, I saw this video. It didn't look like anybody got run over to me. It looked to me like a woman got scared, tried to drive away, and they shot her. That'll be for the court to decide. Well, the mayor of Minneapolis, though, had this to say.
They are already trying to...
Once again, going back to the rhetoric of all this. Blabs, have you seen this?
I've seen bits and pieces of this already, yeah.
Have you seen the Jimmy Kimmel monologue, though?
No, I'm kind of wondering what happened before he was pulling up that register. I want to see, like, the whole thing.
Well, he's going to pull up another shirt here in just a second.
Oh, good. There's more shirts.
Yeah.
This is like actually angering because the only reason he's doing stuff like this, like he's not dumb. He is not someone I would give the benefit of he's just being retarded. He is a willful, malicious liar. And it's because he's part of the media apparatus that was able to tell people how and what to think for so long. And his reign of power is being usurped by just like random who the fuck are we on YouTube, right? And he doesn't like that, and he wants power back. And the only way to get that is if the left actually gets what they want. And so it's just infuriating to see him stand up on television and lie about these things and know people will eat it up. And it's like, even if he showed direct proof that contradicted his lies would still reach people. And even with the evidence in front of them, they would still believe him over what their eyes are seeing.
So, let's go and continue here because I do have more to this whole thing. So let's see where this goes.
This as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bull. This was an agent recklessly...
How about you eat another bowl of Somalian slop, Mr. Frey?
Phoenix, did you hear the clapping there?
I did.
Let's just go and play through it a little bit more and want to hear if you think it's canned or not.
Using power that resulted in somebody dying, getting killed. And I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the out of Minneapolis.
Now, that is the shirt I want to see. To ICE. Get the out of Minneapolis. Get the out of all.
All right, so that's it. You think that was authentic or you think it was canned?
I feel like it's canned. Most of those shows have a lot of canned laughter, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they'll use other sections of where there was. Yeah, it's a tough call. Look, all of those people are on the same side, so it wouldn't shock me anytime you see massive rhetoric that they're going to be extremely excited. They also have the stupid applause thing to look at too. So it's hard. It's hard to say. It wouldn't shock me either way.
I saw this morning, and I was like, I was honestly shocked, and I put a tweet saying, if you would have told me this is AI, I would have believed you, but it's not, right? Like, that's amazing here. And I'm actually kind of amazed that I asked Grok if he could be sued because that is just like seems like such a defamatory statement about something. Right? But apparently no.
You can file that under, I imagine it's comedy, it's humor, it's spoofing.
A satirical monologue here. So fall under First Amendment over here, just saying that. And that's crazy.
But they're not stupid because that image for that side, they get to just see that image without even any context. And that's what that side is very good at. They're very good at spreading their message very effectively. Because that side basically only looks at an image and then makes an opinion. They only look at a headline and make an opinion. So these things matter.
Legit question. If you were to, he has this shirt that says Donald J. Trump is going to kill you, right? And this is based off of the reason why it's protected is because it's satire, right?
Yeah.
And public figures, you have to prove actual malice. Okay. I don't know if there's anything more damaging than saying somebody is going to kill you. So hypothetically, if somebody was to make a shirt that said Jimmy Kimmel is going to fuck kids, right? And put that shirt out there, could he sue? Because, that's the exact same thing. It's satirical. It's funny, right? But and he's a public figure. Could you do that?
I mean, I would say it was just as funny as his shirt, which it's not, but it would be funny as a retort to his shirt.
I think it just comes down to your lawyers, but you would be technically, I think you would be technically in the right.
I think that maybe by the end of the show, I should put together a shirt that says Jimmy Kimmel's going to fuck kids or something like that. Maybe we can make it available. We'll make it a red shirt with that white font just like that, and we'll make it available over at sidescrollersmerch.com. All right. What about the response just across celebrities? Anyone familiar with Simu Liu? Blabs, you know Simu Liu?
Yeah, Shang-Chi, these nuts. Yeah.
Oh, he's the okay, I remember him.
that
I remember him.
fucktard.
We talked about him before.
Yeah.
The one who makes everything about race.
That's right. This is the this guy right here. He is over on X still. He had his Phoenix is powering down right here.
Yeah.
Beyond appalled at the murderous actions of ICE agents in Minneapolis, don't be manipulated by rhetoric. There's a video, and it clearly shows the murder of an unarmed woman driving away. Immigration laws can be enforced in a dignified way. Fuck ICE forever. Here, as you know, he's been pointed out by several people that she spent the day stalking and harassing ICE agents, parked the car perpendicular. But this is the narrative that they're going to push here. Patton Oswalt came in.
He is fucking psychopathic.
He says, "Thank God the brave ICE officer took down this crazed, dangerous criminal." So this is the woman.
He's trying to be sarcastic, but instead he's just right.
Yes, 100%. I don't know if you guys know who Mina Kimes is. She is a sports lady, and she is does the NFL on ESPN. That's her right there. She said, "The ghouls on this app are reacting the way you'd expect, but they're not real people. Real people, your neighbors, friends, anyone with a conscience, see this and feel angry and sad. Real people know it's wrong."
What's a little crazy to me is like they try to tap into everyone's empathy, and they know that the majority of like Republican politicians in power will immediately bend the knee and just shed empathy everywhere, like they did with condemning the, group chat, dark, edgy jokes. But it's like, if these people were to get what they wanted, they would indiscriminately kill the people against them, but it would be a good thing because they're doing it to people that they have marked as like Nazis or fascists. And so they have given themselves the moral go-ahead that it's okay to do those things to those people. But if they defend themselves because they're the bad people, that's not okay. We need to squash out any kind of defense we possibly can. Bad people aren't allowed to defend themselves.
Well, there's more here. I talked about Mina Kimes. What about the host of Jeopardy, Ken Jennings? Huh?
What the fuck?
Yeah. He came out and said, the quote, prosecute the former regime at every level candidate has my vote in 2028. America is always like, okay, but the next regime change will work. But like when I, quote, cut out carbs briefly in January here. So
what is he even talking about?
What's that, Blabs? I'm sorry?
I said, notice how he puts it on Blue Sky.
Well, of course. Yeah. So there's that. If you ever want to feel good about Jeopardy, now you can. And Blabs, we'll see how this goes. John Cleese, Blabs.
Oh no!
Oh no, John Cleese is a fucktard.
Yeah, I know, but it's always tragic. He's
fuck him. Fuck him.
Okay.
John,
Frankly speaking, he's pretty old. Not really my type.
Responding to Elon Musk tweet, Elon Musk saying she tried to run people over, and this is courtesy of whatever this is. says, Elon, you are living proof that a high IQ is nothing to do with a high EQ.
Well, it's a good thing that EQ isn't real and is just something to try and browbeat the people that they dislike into showing empathy to people who don't deserve it.
Does that make you feel sad, Blabs, knowing that John Cleese is...
I didn't even know what the fuck EQ meant. I just Googled it. Emotional intelligence, basically. So I guess I have none. Anyway, yeah, no, I'm disappointed, but not shocked. They're all the same celebrities, so...
It's really easy, just as a reminder to everybody. If you're all like your boy Phoenix, all of this is gone tomorrow. All of it. Because I support none of these assholes. Not one of them. I don't buy anything. Don't watch any of this shit. This can go away tomorrow. Stop giving them your money and stop giving them your attention. But for fucking real, do it. Like, actually stop. This is done in a day. It's just done. God damn it.
I forgot what I was going to say. I'm sorry.
No worries. No worries.
Phoenix dropped the bomb, and now we're like,
He
yeah,
did drop
that's
the bomb.
it.
It was a good bomb.
Well, we have more here from, I don't know if you're familiar with Stephen A. Smith. He is a sports guy who has his own show on YouTube as well. He's the most popular guy on ESPN. And a lot of people say that he potentially could be the next Democratic nominee for the presidency.
Oh, boy.
But I'll tell you this about Stephen A. Smith. I think he's a classic Democrat, if that makes sense. Now, he has his statements on race and things like that, but when you hear him speak, he does a pretty good job of articulating his thoughts, as you would expect as a commentator. But here he is.
I saw the video on numerous occasions. And seeing what transpired, from a lawful perspective, as it pertains to a law enforcement official, don't expect him to be prosecuted. He was completely justified. From a humanitarian perspective, however, why did you have to do that?
What?
If you could move out.
By all means, go ahead.
Someone's going to try to harm me. Yeah, I'm going to defend myself. What in the fuck?
Yeah, and this is where things get blurry for a lot of these folks. Is, you know, what's the old saying? Facts don't care about your feelings, right?
Yeah,
It's
and I
going
want
to be like the Kyle Rittenhouse situation all over again, where he was completely justified in shooting people in a mob trying to run him down and beat him. And one of them, I think more than one maybe, had a gun. I can't remember at this point. But it's just like he was 100% justified in what he did. And the fact that he was dragged around as much as he was just insane to see.
Phoenix?
Yeah, I would say real quick, if anyone's on the fence over this, a really great, I'm sure there's a million other great videos out there. The one I would strongly suggest is go over to Tim Pool, watch the video he made where he is showing you how the tires were spinning out, that there was ice, and thankfully there was ironically, that it was ice, that the tires were spinning. So you're hearing this when he's literally in front of the car. And if it wasn't for that ice, if that was just a regular road, good chance he is completely flattened. So I would go and check that out for another perspective on this, because if you put yourself in their shoes, who have seen, I think this guy, I think you even said was hit by a car too, that when you're in front of a car and you're hearing tires peeling out in front of you, yeah, that's a very different. It's very easy for us to look at a video and go like, well, I think he should have just, jumped out of the way. But it's another thing to be in that situation and also be aware of what that side has been doing to people, and that violence is something that's very, very much a real thing. So you have to stop. I'll remove the word you have to. I understand how potentially going to that conclusion would make sense for an officer in that situation.
And I really hate how, like, whenever someone on their side fails to exact an attack on someone, they all just start trying to screech how that person was the victim. I mean, it was the same, like, with my cancellation campaign as well. They failed to do the kind of damage that they wanted to do, and then all of them ran around and started claiming that they were the victims. That's just what happens. You can even see in the video that, like, the officer gets bumped by the vehicle. Again, thankfully that ice was on the ground so that she didn't actually peel out into him. And that's something Osmongold mentioned in his recap of the situation as well.
Well, truth doesn't matter to a lot of these folks.
It doesn't.
It's just one of those things that's conveniently in the way. So, anyways, he asks why do you have to do that? It's like, well, because she was gonna run me over. That's why.
Yeah.
That's right. You know, disregard all that other thing. So, our vice president chimed in here based off of the other angle that you were talking about, Phoenix, the angle that you actually see the officer get hit, which it's like indisputed. Here's this angle that you were talking about, Phoenix.
At a high angle, right?
Yes, the high angle right here, as we JFK the shit out of this, which it is totally unnecessary. See him right there. Literally gets bumped off. Literally bumped off right there.
And then
again, though, you have to
shot.
add. I was just going to say real fast, what you have to add to that is when you go from the other angle, from behind the car, you're seeing the cars, the wheels actually pointed towards him, and they're spinning. So even before it hits him, he's hearing the car revving up and peeling out with him in front of it.
Well, that's once again facts, and that's really hard for people to understand there, Phoenix. That's tough. Well,
And
JD,
where you see the shots as well, the first shot is directly in the front of the windshield. He wouldn't have been able to hit that from the side. Because there's some people saying, like, oh, he shouldn't have shot because he jumped out of the way. And it's like the first shot was when he was still in front.
I'm honestly amazed to see how quickly this narrative has been spun by, you know, like it goes back to a lot of things we talk about, like the victimhood mentality of like, this is a lady who was apparently following these people around all day, getting in the way of law enforcement. And now she has become the martyr for these folks.
I'm not surprised at all, because these are people who want ICE dead. They want people like you and I dead. And if we defend ourselves, that's a bad thing.
We'll get to that as well here in a second. But JD Vance, our vice president, says, correct, you can accept that this woman's death is a tragedy while acknowledging that it's a tragedy of her own making.
Yes.
Don't illegally interfere in federal law enforcement's operations and try to run over our officers with your car. It's really that simple.
And people have been posting around like how she has a 6-year-old child or some shit. And it's like, okay, well then why was she out there stalking ICE, trying to do these kinds of things, putting herself in danger when she has a child to care about? It makes me think of that like fucking heat map again, where leftists like don't put any priority on their family and their heat map is like all out in the boonies. And then the Republican heat map is like completely opposite, or whatever, or conservative heat map. And it's just like she put more care into the Somalians in Minnesota, which she was new to the area. She was apparently from Colorado and had Missouri plates on her car. So she was new to the area, but she was still prioritizing protesting, having Somalians stealing from the people of Minnesota deported over her own 6-year-old child. Why would we feel bad about that? In any other instance, we'd be calling her a terrible fucking mother and saying someone should call CPS.
Well, maybe one of her kids was at the daycare, one of the Somali daycares.
The clearing center.
Yes. That's wildly unfortunate to think about. But all right, and we will continue, because it hasn't all been just silliness. It hasn't all been insanity. Adrian Curry, who was on America's Next Top Model, talked about like the response to this and the overwhelming response we've seen from everybody going out and trying to stop these raids, and the response. She said over on X, says, I did not like Bush or the war. I did not stand in front of military bases using my vehicle to disrupt deployment, stalking troops as they made their way to the airfield. Logic, reason, common sense, it's gone. People act like they are playing a video game or in a movie with the way they behave. Zero self-preservation. Is this MK Ultra shit? Have people just lived such coddled lives that they don't even begin to think of possible repercussions of insane actions? What is even happening? People are mentally breaking in half.
I think the easiest explanation is that we've been talking about how a lot of leftists live in a just completely different reality from the rest of us.
Yeah.
Facts don't matter to them. Seeing things with their eyes don't matter. They will twist it, they will ignore it, and they will always make everything fit their narrative. And there's people on our side who keep saying, oh, racist has lost its meaning, Nazi has lost its meaning, like, you know, calling someone a fascist has lost its meaning. It absolutely has not. And people saying those things, I think, do not understand where we are. To the people on the left who are acting like this, who are propagandized, who are being used as useful idiots, those words are very real to them. They see you as a target. They might not see you necessarily as literally Hitler, but you've been called a Nazi. And if you've been called a Nazi to that leftist, you are one. There is nothing you can say or do that will remove that label from you. And if you are a Nazi, you must die. That is just the case with these people. And so if you can't convince them that a normal average person isn't a Nazi, isn't a fascist, isn't a white supremacist, and they believe that wholeheartedly, they are going to believe that everything they do is good. They are the anti-fascist freedom fighters, liberating people from an oppressive Nazi regime, liberating people from just average people like us who they think in their warped minds are going to be running around on the streets like helping ICE or collecting people or just trying to execute leftists. So they have to get to us first before that happens in their mind.
That's scary.
It is scary because, like, how do you reason with that? How do you live like that? And it reminds me of I can't pronounce his name, but like the Asin Rathu guy in not Nepal, but another like monk area over there. And he was talking about Islam and how it was transforming his country. And he was like, you can have all the kindness in your heart, but you can't lie next to rabid dogs. And I think about that every time I encounter somebody who has been rabidly propagandized, and you can't reach them. You can't show them facts. You can't have a conversation. Even if they post something that completely opposes what they're saying, they still believe in their narrative. Other people still believe in the narrative. There's just, it feels like a hopeless situation to try and like reach across the aisle anymore.
What's the next step here? Right? When you have two blatant realities, like there's this reality that believes in law and order, and then you have this reality that doesn't feel like law and order should apply to them and that they are doing justice and they're the freedom fighters, right? How is this solved? Is this solved? Will this ever be solved?
There's only one outcome.
I don't think we can say it on YouTube.
There's only one outcome, and that is the inevitable.
Is that Tim Pool's solution?
Not a solution. It is just the inevitable. It is we're arguably already in it. It's already happening.
I mean, we've been in it for ages. It's just been in a cold culture war, and then they started escalating to actually killing people.
Well, in a perfect world, if we had where I could maybe see that this kind of derails a little bit is if there was a booming economy. If we were hitting nothing but success, then our side won the culture war. I could see this kind of getting phased out a little bit because then all of your media empire, everything, all the narrative kind of starts to go towards another direction. And it's not constantly gaslighting that community, which keeps stoking the flames. Maybe there, but unfortunately our economy is not booming and we're not seeing a lot of success. So what does that breed? Nihilism. And when people are nihilistic and they don't feel like they've got anywhere to go and they see you as the problem, whoops, not good.
And on top of that, like, this is why I keep saying politicians need to stop caring about optics at this point. Because if we want to avoid what is likely inevitable, the only way to do that is to have the federal government come in, remove activist judges, remove the corrupt politicians that inflame this kind of violent rhetoric and cheer it on. And that is ultimately a very overreach of power thing to do. And it's going to be decried very, very harshly. But how else would we be able to get out of what feels like an almost civil war situation, right?
Well, rhetoric will not help here. And this type of rhetoric does not help at all from Jimmy Kimmel, which is why, as presenting the story, I have gone on our store and made the Jimmy Kimmel store.
Oh boy.
The Jimmy Kimmel is gonna diddle kids shirt that you can pick up right now over at sidescrollersmerch.com only today before I get a cease and desist from ABC telling us that it's bad. And I can do this because this is satirical here, which is great. So go pick it up at sidescrollersmerch.com only today.
Only today, 24 hours.
That's right.
I think the worst thing about that shirt is that it's not going to cause any more harm to Trump necessarily. But if there's a Trump supporter on the streets, if they have if there's a brave person still wearing a Trump hat or a Trump sweatshirt or something in current year, that makes them a target, because someone who's been propagandized is going to see that and be like, this person supports a man that literally wants me dead. So it is justified and it is good, and I am morally correct in killing this person first.
Well, I think that I'm morally correct for letting everybody know they can buy this satirical t-shirt over at sidescrollersmerch.com. Go pick it up right now.
Jimmy Kimmel's going to diddle them kids, man.
I don't know. I'm just saying, if he can go out and say things like this and it's protected under the First Amendment, I absolutely can do these things, right? So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Are you tired of all the nonsense? Yeah, you are. Hit the subscribe button right here and join us.